Good morning, everybody. Hello. How are you all this morning? Hang on a second. Put it right. That's better. So, Friday, the day before the big day, isn't it? So, I just wanted to welcome everybody that's on YouTube this morning. Also, well, morning for me, morning for lots of us, but also for those it might be a different hour, of course, afternoon, evening even. It's lovely to have you with us. Look, I'm very happy to answer lots and lots of questions that might come up today, but that will be on the E2 language chat box which we have. So unfortunately, any questions coming from YouTube, I can't answer. Guys, you can join for free. Why not just join E2 language, the free version? This class will be available for you, and you'll have a chance to answer and take part using the chat box. So it's well worth it and has absolutely no cost. Bitwin, good morning. Lovely to have you with us. Sanvi, hello. Christine, hello to you. And Jewel, hello. It's lovely to have you. You know, this is a sort of a new class. It's the second time I've done this class at this hour. So I do hope it is something that suits you and your work timetable or your daily life timetable. That was the whole idea. And I wonder how many of you are preparing for the exam tomorrow. We've got a good lesson today. We've got a very useful letter, let's say. It's one we don't deal with that often, so lots of people ask for this type of thing. So let's just start. Now, before we start the lesson, I wanted to talk to you about our new, let's say, I wouldn't say promotion, but we want you to help us create the ultimate E2 Dream Pack. Tell us your thoughts. What would you like? What do you like about our current packages? What would you like to see more of? How can we improve? Okay, have your say, fill in the short survey. It's really short. It's super quick. And all the responses will receive an automatic entry to win one of the two $50 MasterCards in our for our classes, let's say, for our packages. So it's a chance for you to give your feedback, help the future of other OET students. And there's going to be a lot. Did you read that now OET is being accepted in America? I know for doctors it's everywhere. I've seen in a couple of states already they've accepted it for nurses. For those of you who are interested or have family in in America and would like to go there, it's all part of the new era for OET and for you guys too. So for those who aren't taking the exam on Saturday and want some more writing feedback, we have our writing intensive, which is two writing feedback tasks. They're high quality exam case case notes. What's different, I would say, to a lot of those marking packages is that we give you a very comprehensive score report and teacher feedback based exclusively on OET criteria, not generic criteria. They're focused on every single criteria that goes into making the full score for your OET writing. Really important. Samantha and I, we both correct them, and that is our job. We only work with OET. We don't care about other exams which have different criteria. It's very important that you get an accurate and a feedback that's going to help. Bitch would ask me which states in the US. I know Florida. There is someone else. Oh, thank you very much, Chloe. Yes, or oregano, Oregon and Florida. And Florida, Oregon and Florida. But I think, you know, as one accepts it, a lot more will. Yes, so it's really, really exciting news. Guys, also don't forget our best package, in my opinion. It's the tutorial package. You get the same number of tutorials as you get assessments. So usually your assessment is written and then corrected, and then it's your chance. You've got those 45-minute sessions to go through the writing task that you've done, go through and think about ways, or look with the tutor ways to improve it. We very often do speaking practice, but we also talk about listening and reading. Wherever you have questions, wherever you have issues, it's for you. Now, in the tutorial packages, you get the mini mock test included. You can buy it separately. It is the best thing to do before you take the exam. Usually about a week, 10 days beforehand is probably okay. It is a full, well, it's a mini exam. You've got the writing task, complete correction and feedback. One of the best things for me, I think, is the mock speaking exam, which is just like the real exam with the same nerves and everything. Both those things get full criteria feedback. So very, very good way of seeing how you're going, but also to improve. That's why give yourself a little bit of time. We've got, of course, a listening and a reading task to do too. Full, yeah, all right. So let's get on with today's class. We're going to test our English, or we're going to test your English with the quiz. We're going to learn a method for completing the writing task. We're going to analyze the task, today's one. We're going to select the relevant case notes. We're going to plan our writing. We're going to write the start, or the let's say the address and all the beginning of the letter. Today we're going to focus on the secondary issue paragraph. So we will see the whole letter in the model letter, but today we're going to sort of skip the key issues. We're going to go to the secondary issues. So that's important, and get them written well organized, well combined. I think that's really important. We're going to check out some other criteria, and then we're going to complete a quiz. So just quickly have a look what people are saying there. During the real test, we will write our answer on a paper, or no, Fan, it will definitely be on paper. Look, they are preparing OET at home. It's still early days. I know they've done 2 trial runs before and after the previous exam, but what they need to do, they need to look through it, they need to correlate the results from that with the results of the written, because everybody who did the OET at home also did the written test. They want to see how accurate and how, you know, the level that is the same. So there's still quite a little bit of work to do. So don't hold your breath. If you're going to be taking the exam in the next month or so, it will definitely be a paper exam. Okay, so got your paper and pencil ready, or anyway, answers are all ready to go in the chat box when the time comes. So quick revision of our tenses. Simple present. Okay, when do we use that? We use it when we want to make a statement. Mr. Lin urgently requires expert assistance. We use it when we talk about something we do regularly, like I go to work. Well, I don't go to work at a school. I work from home. All right, something I do every day or whenever I work. Present continuous, on the other hand, is what we're doing at the moment. Miss Adams is currently receiving some treatment. Now, it's not necessarily the moment that we're speaking, but in around this time, in a temporary situation. Yes, I have done something, the present perfect, something that's happened in the past. Miss Smith has been treated with cold compression therapy. We don't say when. We also use it when we've got for or since, so from the past up to now. Then we've got the present perfect continuous, which is more emphatic, the same idea, but we want to make an emphasis on how long it's been going on. Miss Tran has been undertaking therapy since January or for the last month. So it's very popular to have this tense when we want to focus not so much on what they've been doing, but how long it's been going on for, or something that's been happening regularly, same sort of idea. And we've got the past simple, something that I did. So it's of course something that is past, but also we know when it happened. Mr. Jones was admitted to St. Andrews 2 weeks after his operation. Okay, so we mention when that happened. It's very important to distinguish those tenses. Now, I've got the little quiz ready here, and I'm going to quickly open the chat box. So good on you. And 60 seconds, everybody. The options are there. All you need to do is pop the options into the chat box. Definitely. Good. There we go. Those people who are on YouTube, you can definitely have a go on a piece of paper. But I'm looking for people online on E2 language to pop their answers. Well done, Melody. Thank you very much. Oh, Gabriella, thank you. Daoming, wow. Christine, yes. Zara, yes, thank you. And Andrew, beautiful. So that's the first one, guys. Come on, let's try the next one. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Interesting. Ahmed, thank you, Ahmed. Sanvi, great. Jude, well done. Well done, Melody. We are the second one. And we've got some of the third one. I'm just going to wait for someone to do the fourth one. There we go. Who can do the fourth one? They haven't, well, they've done the other ones. Good. Thank you, Ahmed. Wow, interesting. So a bit of a variety on answers there. Interesting. Let's have a look. So when a post-operative dressing is no longer serving its purpose or is falling off, a new dressing must be applied. We need the passive voice there. We've got the auxiliary, the modal verb here, must, which always takes an infinitive. So what we do in the passive voice, we use the verb to be, but in the infinitive, and then the past participle, be applied. Okay, we don't need a to after must, of course. There should be no argument over the number of times a patient who requires a full course of tetanus vaccine must be vaccinated. Strange long sentence, really, isn't it? But we're just making a statement here. Mrs. Brown needs to restore power to those muscles. So after need, you need to do something. So again, an infinitive, but with the to. And on the rare occasions I take penicillin, I come out in terrible hives. So simple present, because we're talking about the occasions, like a regular thing. In this case, not that regular. Good. I see a lot of misuse of the ing form in speaking. So be careful, guys. The present continuous is used only for what you're talking about now, what I'm doing. Yes, you know, I'm conducting a live class. You are attending the live class. But you might attend the live class every Friday. You understand? So those people who tend to use that ing more than necessary, think back, think and think about using the simple present more. Okay, just quickly ignore those things. Thank you, everybody. Beautiful. Now, let's go on and talk about the test, what it requires you to do. So definitely you need to read and analyze the task, which is at the bottom of the notes. We need then to read and analyze the case notes, and then we're going to write always a letter. It's one of referral, discharge, or transfer. So that 5-minute reading time, very important time. I know lots of people would like to read and write. Unfortunately, only reading is allowed. So we go to the task, we determine who we're going to be writing to and what action you want them to take. Then we need to read the case notes, understand the key facts about this particular condition, because you're going to find facts about the medical history of the patient, but we want the ones that are about the condition and what the action should be. We use the headings and the subheadings. As a guide, it makes it much clearer and easier to be organized. And then we identify the relevant information, decide if it's highly relevant or quite relevant. So in that reading time, we've already thought about which paragraph that information might belong to. So as soon as we can start writing, which is after 5 minutes, we set out and make a plan. We usually have at least 5 paragraphs. Don't worry if you need 6 or even 7. It's much better to have more paragraphs than big long ones where you've got a variety of things in each paragraph. No. Then we write carefully. Each paragraph has one main theme. Okay, and that theme, keep it there. Once you start a new theme, start a new paragraph. Okay, it's much easier to read, and that is our purpose. We want a very user-friendly letter for our reader. Okay, so let's look again at the reading. So we analyze that task, thinking, who are we writing to? Not only their name, but their job. Very important, because that lays the basis of what sort of information is important for them. Don't forget the notes that are written by the nurses. And so that all that information is or was or has been important for you. But we've got to filter out the things that are important to the person we are writing to. So we need to think about the key information they're going to need to do the actions you want, and if they have prior knowledge of that patient. Then we determine which case notes are relevant, which ones are mentioned more than once and need to be combined, and which ones, of course, get left behind because they're irrelevant. So here is our task today. And very important in that reading time to analyze the task. As we said, who am I writing to? What is their job, or where do they work? What action do I want them to take? What does the reader need to know about the patient? And what does the reader, if anything, need to know? Okay, so we've got 1 minute here, and I'm going to open the chat line. Everybody, I'd love you to answer those questions. There we go. Hi, Wing, lovely to have you with us today. A bit late, but better late than never. Definitely. So, okay. Oh, Chloe, I'll just have a quick look about question 4. Quite a few did that. I'll just pop back in a second after we've done this, just to clear that up. So we're writing yes to Dr. Martins. Who is that doctor? That's what's important. Thank you, Andrew. Yes, really important. We've got to really focus on who they are, what job, and all that sort of thing. Now, what does the reader need to know? And the last question is important here. What does the reader already know about that person? Yeah, at this stage, it's difficult to know, but he is the GP. So well done. He should, in fact, know about the patient's medical history. Definitely. Okay. Now, just for those people who were, we just wanted to quickly rush back to that thing. On the rare occasions I take, now, on the rare occasions I had taken, that verb here, I come out, would be in the past tense. On the rare occasions I had taken penicillin, I came out in terrible hives. Do you understand the difference there? That's why the had taken is incorrect. Here we're just talking about a general situation. So it is the present tense. Okay, and that second verb in that sentence made all the difference. So here we've got our answers. He is the patient's GP, Dr. Martins. Reviewing, and we want him to review and offer ongoing care. What does the reader need to know? He needs to know the patient's current situation and conditions, what's happened to him, what's been happening to him since he saw him last. And he does have knowledge of the patient, but you've got to be careful on that because it isn't always something that is important. But think about it. When we've got a discharge letter and we're discharging back to the patient's GP, it is likely that there is some knowledge of that patient. So we've got the case notes. Always important, guys, so important for your whole letter in many, many ways about the relevancy, about what is repeated, what is not relevant. Now, in our content, apart from other things, key information is included. No important details are missing. So the fact that we've chosen the relevant situation in case notes for the situation is crucial. It's really, really important. As far as the length of the letter and the conciseness, well, that's going to play really important if you've included irrelevant information. So it's important that you don't include relevant information because it's going to affect the length of your letter. Now, a lot of people worry about the length of letters in OET. Well, it's not important for just the fact that there's numbers of words. In fact, I've been told, and I think Rebecca always says from OET, that they don't actually count the words, but it is very important on those two issues. Okay, so if your word count is very low, it means, in fact, that you have probably missed out some important information. If your word count is very high, it means then that you probably have included irrelevant information. Another thing that affects it is that you haven't summarized the issues effectively. Okay, so that's really the summary, the way you put them together plays an important role about the number of words, but the actual number is not important. Now, here we've got a lot of case notes, and it's going to be your job, guys, to go through them and really work on what's going on, basically, what's happened to our Mr. Smithson, and what things are important to inform the GP so that he can carry out the plan that you have. I've got the chat box open. Everybody who wants, I'd love to want that to happen. I'd love to see your any of your ideas for the case notes. So Bitrin just asked about dear sir or madam. Definitely. Dear sir, madam. But I would put the whole word madam. Dear sir or madam, or a slash. Another thing to put, of course, is dear doctor. Okay. Lots of people. Well done, everybody on YouTube. I'm looking at your work. You're working very, very hard. I'm very impressed. Well done. So, thanks, Gabriella. Thanks, Bitrin. There's a lot to work through, guys. Definitely. Thanks, Daomi. Good. Johnson there on the live chat on YouTube just wrote history. That's not good enough to think about history. What history? There's plenty of history of this patient. Okay. Yes, beautiful. Very comprehensive. Hiromi. Thank you. Exactly, Andrew. Exactly, Hiromi. Yes. So general medical history. The doctor should know. We're talking about in fact, the admission details, aren't we? Thanks, Dominic. It's not really what we're working for, but anyway, Gabriella. But Gabriella, about the flatmates, is that relevant? Thanks, Chloe. That's right. Yes. Yeah, Gabriella, the flatmates. Not relevant. I think that's one that keeps on coming up. Hiromi, good one. That's right. Beautiful. Thanks, Andrew. Exactly. Thanks, Havani. Lovely. Good. Guys, I really appreciate that. Everybody's worked extremely hard because there is a lot to go through. And remember, we talked about the subtitles. Don't they help? You know, okay, once you've got to the subtitle, you do have to look because not everything in each little section is important. Now, I'm going to put not only the relevant, but also the few repeated pieces of information. So we're going to have to tell the GP the story about the fire at the residence, of course, his name and his age, admission details, and we've got a provisional discharge because it's pending the consultant's report. Okay, so what happened? All about the burns, where, and also the story about his respiratory distress, important. The rest, not important. The fact that he was living in shared accommodation, yeah, well, that's okay. That's connected there with the residents. Now, as far as the nursing management, we've got, we only need about the bloods, the full blood count, the fiber optic laryngoscopy. Wow, it was unnecessary. And the good news that the chest x-ray was clear. Then we've got all the medications he's on. The fact that the day before, which is on the 9th, it is suspected that the pending report discharges tomorrow, that all those things, everything was fine, the bloods were normal and no infection. So this, in fact, to tell you the truth, guys, I like to read the discharge plan before I go back there. Okay, it's good to see the name of the person, the age, a little bit what happened. But what is our discharge plan? Wound cleansing and topical distress, the topical dressings daily auscultation for 2 weeks. Okay, the patient given instructions on how to apply the sunscreen and the moisture and massage, the deep breathing exercises. Okay, and then follow a high protein diet, plenty of fluids. So all that sort of, this part here is what the patient has been told. Light activity, no contact sports for 8 months. Okay, so really, these are the instructions for our GP. This we need to inform the GP that he has been told. We need also to inform the GP about the follow-up appointment in a week, isn't it really? Definitely. Okay, just see if there's any other chat coming on. Ritswana, darling, circulation monitor, I don't know. Look, was it something that was, you see, there was none. That's why we don't use it. For sure, if there had been a problem with the circulation, of course, it would have been important. But the fact that it wasn't, okay, so let's have a look at what we've got to do next. Now, this is something we ask every time. That's a very different letter we've got today. Other times we have letters where we've had a couple of appointments, so we've got a bit of chronology going on. Every time there's a letter, it is always different. So remember to be flexible. Don't use a template. Just think, what is the best way to write this letter? What sort of organization? And that's going to be part of your plan. So you're going to need at least 5 paragraphs. As I said, even 6, sometimes, well, even 7 if you're necessary. But we're going to focus on that secondary issue. Now, before we go, we're going to work on the addressing the recipient, that outline for the address and for the, let's say, the first couple of lines. Then we're going to take notes and make a plan. We're going to decide how many paragraphs and what's going to go into each one. That's important. Remember, each paragraph has its own theme. And then we're going to write, we're going to keep checking the relevance and the importance, make sure that we're not, you know, just putting things in that perhaps were important for us as the nurse, but really aren't relevant for our doctor. Okay, and working out how to get it put in the best, let's say, order. Yeah, difficult. Now, as far as the outline, the beginning of our letter, very important to get this right. It makes that first impression. So we've got the title and the full name here of our recipient. There's his full name. Don't forget, in English, the first name always comes first, and then this one is his surname, okay, which we use, the family name. Then like to put the job title. You've got GP. If you're worried about the spelling, just put GP, but put it on a separate line. And then we've got the address and the suburb. Sometimes we have the name of a hospital, or let's say the clinic. Then we've got the date, and that's going to be the date of the exam. Then we've got our RE, which can go here, it can go here. It's a capital R with a small e and then a colon. We use the patient's title. Okay. Well, someone said to me the other day, there are names that they don't know if they're male or female. But that I suggested that you look within the notes, and you can find various things like his, hers, the job they do. There are different little signposts, but you shouldn't be having that type of problem. You know, you shouldn't have that problem really, because it is given in one way or the other. Hopefully you understand that Robert is a male. So dear, and then we've got dear doctor, but we drop the first name and we just use the surname. But then I said, Chloe says, I don't understand, for the selected information at the nursing management, those selected for relevant is all in normal range, but it's connected with what the GP needs to do. Okay, that's why. Where should I write the top? You can we didn't choose the nursing management as relevant placements. I didn't understand, Julie. Okay, so just quickly pop by, the date can go here or at the top. I'm just going to skim back everybody at those, whoopsie, okay, at those case notes. So, look, I am not a nurse. Yes, you are right. They are in normal range. And the fact that this was unnecessary, that's very interesting. He needs to deal with the auscultation. So I suppose, about the fact that the X-ray was clear. That's very interesting that you said that, everybody. Whereas these ones were not mentioned. We're going to have to hang on in there. As I said, I'm not a nurse myself. So, but I take what you said very, very interesting there. Let's have a look at the end. Sometimes I've noticed that some of the highlighted case notes aren't even used, or they're used very briefly. Okay, so let's have a look what we want to do. Let's work on this for a minute. I'm giving you 90 seconds here, guys. And my finger today is a bit loose. About writing the address. Interesting, Chloe. What you can rest assured is that the case notes and the answers are written and scrutinized not only by English teachers, also by the medical staff doctors for the OET. Interesting. Unfortunately, I can't really help you with that. But anyway, have a go with writing the address. MD, Jewel, you don't need the 2, my darling. Yes. And Andrew, you need to put his full name there. Doctor, not Dr. Martin, Dr. Andrew Martins. Okay. So come on, everybody, have a good go. Ah, Andrew, yes. Yeah. Good. Honda, yes, on the chat line, can we use the word suffered? I think with burns, it's pretty painful, so you could, yeah. Okay, Dowming, you've put it that way, which isn't really very, very useful, because, yes, wing beautiful, beautifully, you've got all that, because you've actually included lots of punctuation, which doesn't belong in our letter head. So we've got dear Dr. Andrew Martins, no comma, general practitioner. Now, that's how it is spelt. It's good to be careful and to learn the spelling of it. You know, it's not unusual to put that in the title. 29 Cowslip Avenue, Berkeley. Date, you can use numbers, 10th of April 2019. Mr. Robert Smithson, 22 years old or aged 22. Dear Dr. Martins, we've got comma here, we've got the colon there, another comma. And then yours sincerely, everybody, small s here, ward nurse. Good. Now let's hit the decks and get going. Decide how many paragraphs and what is going to go into each one. Okay, we're only going to have time to focus on that secondary issue. What is the additional information? Important, perhaps not quite as important, that is in our first main issue, but more important than the other details. I find it hard actually to do that when we haven't written the beginning and all the rest, but we've got just 90 seconds, not very long, to plan, to read and plan. Which points from all of those relevant ones would you put in that second paragraph? The nursing management, what happened? It's a good one, Ahmed. Good way to break it up. So our first one would be the admission details. The second one, the nursing management. Sounds pretty, useful. Logic. Here we've got the discharge plan. Or are you talking about which instructions are given to the patient? Interesting. Ahmed writes medications. There were quite a few. Yes. We've got a mixed bag here. Francis, no, you can put a period after doctor or Mr., whatever you are used to in your country. If it's something you do, we don't put it here in Australia or in the UK. Other countries do, and it's certainly not wrong. So feel free to put what's important to you. Okay. Good. Let's see. Oh, you put the whole thing. We're just talking about that second paragraph. So Swan is talking about the bloods and all that, so the nursing management, together with the medication. Look, sometimes, you know, let's have a look what our Brad has come up with. So they've mentioned the provisional discharge. And for those who picked that one, the discharge plan and the instructions given to the patient. Interesting. All right, there's no right and wrong. It's just what Brad has chosen. Now, how are we going to organize that and organize it beautifully? That's really important. Sometimes when you've got a lot of information and you want to fix it and make it flow nicely, it's worth jotting it down on your rough paper and just working it out before you put it into your final letter. Now, it's a big mistake to write everything twice. Sometimes you might work, you know, think, I just need to work that out. What am I going to put with each other? What things am I going to group together? Which things am I going to prioritize? Think about that first sentence of your paragraph, everybody, the topic sentence. So we always put the most important thing at the beginning of our sentence. So don't clutter it up with other things, all right? Put that main detail in that first sentence. Now, useful language, we need that pending because of the discharge. Will be discharged, of course, it's passive voice. To maintain, he has been instructed. We've used the present perfect because we don't say when. Also the fact that he's still in hospital. And then refrain. And refrain goes with from, refrain from, which means not to do something. Good. Now, a long go. You've got 5 minutes here. Got that chat line open. Yeah, Bitwin, darling. As I said, I'm not a medical person. Well, that is fine. Yes, I'm very interested in what you said about that. So, you know, as I said, it's not wrong to, it's certainly not irrelevant. Oh. Why is that clock being so? It's working. So thanks everybody for having a go. So, well, Melody, that's not really the third paragraph. That's the first one. We're not really talking about it. Okay, Chloe. Yeah, well, thanks, guys. Thanks, guys. That's very interesting. And my niece, my sister's daughter, is a nurse in the burns department. And actually, I sent it to her and she had some comments to make too. So guys, yes, I'm sure you know better, than our teachers. However, we do always consult, like the OET members of medical staff, when we put out these things, because they are based on true stories anyway. But that's very, very interesting. So I like that comment. How's everybody going? Another couple of minutes left, everybody. How are you going to combine those notes? And that is the purpose of this practice. And I think it's so important. And it's one of the things that when I do tutorials with people, they're writing, it's one of the things we work on, how to combine the sentences more concisely, so grouping things together in a better way. Oh, it probably is pending, MD, yes. Okay, not super. There's a lot missing in that one. Keep trying. Ahmed, I think the deep breathing exercises should go in a different sentence. Don't just put an also, because your main sentences he has been instructed to apply. He has been instructed to do something, and you don't have any do, or you don't have any to. So you don't have a verb with that deep breathing exercise. And it's sort of different. It's a different thing than the moisturizing and the sun cream. Think about that. Don't worry about having new sentences. One long sentence, you're more likely to make mistakes. And of course, it's much more difficult for the reader to read it. And that's something we're trying to avoid. Let's have a look about our second paragraph. So we've started off with the pending. Pending the consultant's report, Mr. Smithson will be discharged on the 10th of the 4th. Okay. He has been advised to apply a high-factor sunscreen and to moisturize and massage the affected area. Full stop, you see. He should follow a high-protein diet and maintain fluid intake. So that's food and drink. It is also, you see, important that he perform deep breathing exercises for lung expansion and to allow secretions to drain. He has been instructed to refrain from contact sports and vigorous activity for a period of 8 months. You see how beautifully all those things are connected. Two in a sentence is more than enough. If from one sentence to the next, we're talking about different things. All right, don't block them all together. Now, let's have a look at our paragraphs. So we've started. Your patient, dear Dr. Martins, your patient, Mr. Smithson, was admitted to our burns unit following a fire at his residence. Your ongoing care of his injuries is appreciated. Okay, so we're telling them who our patient is, what happened to him, and what we want him to do. Mr. Smithson presented with partial thickness burns on 18% of his body, mainly on his chest and neck. New sentence. He was experiencing respiratory distress, and although intubation was unnecessary, significant quantities of soot were evident in the oral cavity. All right. His chest X-ray was clear, and his blood tests returned as normal. His burns are now healing well. There is no sign of infection, and he has been prescribed pain medication. So they haven't mentioned the medication because it's not something that that you want our GP to monitor. Okay, so it's for his information only. Now, the next paragraph is all about the instructions. And then our final paragraph is our request paragraph. We request that you kindly monitor Mr. Smithson's progress. See to his wound dressings and check his breathing every day for the next 2 weeks. He has an appointment at our outpatients unit on the 17th. Okay, not lots of words, not lots of bits and introductions and, you know, all those sorts of things, linking words. No, we want to keep it simple, combined nicely, easy to read, and of course, easy to understand. That is our main reason for writing, and writing in this way. Keep it simple, keep it clear. All right, guys. So let's move on. Take a photo of that, take a print screen. This will be available on your page. I think only if you're not a free member as a recording. But now let's move on to some of the language criteria. There's a list of the criteria: the content, the conciseness, clarity, the genre and the style, making sure that's right, organization and layout, and the language. One of the issues of language is punctuation. Okay. Good. Just had a quick look at that. Thank you, Ahmed. So let's just quickly run through punctuation. It is important. And as we said, it's important to have nice, easy to manage sentences. So our first punctuation is the full stop. And they're used at the end of a sentence, of course. Intravenous drug users are at a greater risk of infection. Full stops are also used after some abbreviations. Well, yes, sometimes it depends where they come from. These are two separate words, small ones, and then the etc. has it afterwards. Those things you can just learn, but not very often. They're getting fewer and fewer, really. Now, a comma. Anybody who has a raised hand, please answer any questions that you might have in the chat box. Now, let's look at commas. Yes, these are a bit more tricky. They're used to show a pause in a sentence. Like as though we were reading them, it helps us pause. Finally, we should write a letter to the chairman of the board. Commas are used for listing 3 or more things. So, rigidity in the shoulders, comma, forearms, comma, neck and back are early symptoms, whatever. Commas are used around a relative clause. Yes, these non-defining relative clauses, which we often use, probably only use really, in our purpose paragraph. Miss Price who has been my patient since 2013, requires 24-hour care. Okay, I mean, we could have put in our letter, for example, I'm writing to discharge Mr. Smithson, comma, a patient of yours who was admitted to our Burns unit, that sort of thing. So there's lots of ways and different ways we can start the letter and then use the commas. Now, another common one we use is the apostrophe. So we talk about the ownership, so it's about possession. These are Mr. Davidson's test results. So we've got one Mr. Davidson, and the apostrophe goes directly after that before the S. When we've got more than one subject here, or object in this case, I'm looking for the nurse's timetables, it goes after the S because we've got lots of nurses. If it went before, it would be the time sheets of one nurse. So just be careful about that. Another thing, yeah, let's have a look at these sentences. Giving you 30 seconds. Which one do you think is correct? Well, that's hopeless, wasn't it? I've actually told you here. Sorry about that, everybody. But can you see why it's correct? Here we've got no commas at all. Here we've got, well, we've got this is wrong because it's the test results of the patient. We've got a full stop in the middle. Everything else is okay. So sorry about that one, I ruined it for you. But here we've got the right one, the patient's test results, which were sent to his GP within 3 days, comma, revealed that the tumour had spread to his lungs, lymph nodes, kidneys, and brain. All right. So this bit, the non-defining relative clause, is, let's say, extra information because the sentence, the patient's test results revealed that the tumour had spread. Sits fine, but we're adding extra information. That's why it goes within those 2 commas. Now, here's a long one. Thanks, everybody. And I've got the 2 minutes there. Hopefully, you don't mess it up. You don't need to rewrite it. I don't expect you to do that. But anybody who would like to put in the chat box the words. Now, some of them have problems because of the capital letters. Sometimes there are places that we need commas. So between commas, capital letters, or question marks, well, any other punctuation that is missing. You get marked on it, so it's important to get it right. Thank you, Wing. Beautiful. Hiromi, thank you, Mitrin. All right, yes. Thank you, Mitrin. Yep, that's true. Shinsi, lovely. Okay. Isile, thank you. You did a beautiful job there. Good. It's so important because it makes reading. Look, there are some examples where punctuation can make a completely different meaning to writing, but they do help with the way it's read, the way someone understands it. Oh, well done, Gabriella. Yeah, Gabriella, not bad. The BMI probably needs something. Guys, fantastic, all your work. Thanks, Savani, too. Let's have a look. So we've got our Mr. Brown, of course, was diagnosed with NIDDM in 1999. Yes, now we don't put a comma here and has been monitoring because we don't have a subject here. If we had the comma, we would need to put a subject, and he has been monitoring his BP and sugar levels at home since then. Capital, of course, he has a strong family history of diabetes and is allergic to penicillin. His weight is steady. Now, they've got brackets here, but to tell you the truth, guys, avoid using brackets in OET at all costs. It's not the right thing to do. Just a comma would be fine. His weight is steady, comma, BMI 24, comma, and an eye examination in October, capital O, indicated no issues. Good, thanks everyone. Now, just before we run to the end, we've got here a reminder about just clicking on the link there, there's the promo. There is the the link you can use to go in there. So, or you just put Dream Pack, and you can find it easily and answer that survey. Yes, it will be really, really helpful for us, and it's good for you to have your say. Now, here we've got some places and things that can help you. I just need to do something which, of course, I forgot. Yep, I'm just going to copy and paste that for you. Go back into the share this again with you properly. There we go. Oh, very clever at all, was it? No. Here. Yeah. So what I wanted to do, and I should have done it beforehand, is to pop into the chat box some important links that you might find useful. There we go. It's been a long week, guys. So here are my links that you're going to find. I hope everybody can see it. I'll just put it in again. There we go. So we've got the things. What I've got here, I found you might find useful in our support is a simplified medical vocabulary list. Then we've got the log, a blog here all about the writing subtest, and these are also, and then the 7 deadly sins of writing. Yes. Well, look, some people, especially people in Melbourne, I don't know if in any other places, were due to sit for their exam tomorrow. It's really, really sad. And people have to wait now another 6 weeks till August. Yes, Wing, you must be so frustrated. Hang on, hang with us, guys. There's plenty of live classes, there's plenty of blogs, there's our YouTube channel. There's so many ways that you can keep in touch. Just watch the live classes, keep that motivation up. It's really important. If you haven't taken your own your mini mock test yet, don't forget to take it. It's well worth it. If you haven't even thought about it, guys, it is your strongest tool before the exam. Use it. I guarantee that you will, pick up lots of ideas, especially the speaking. Everybody learns a lot by doing that. And it's just, what is important also is to sit the 2 hours to do the test. And that takes stamina, it takes energy, and it takes getting used to. So the fact that you have to sit and do that all together, the writing, the listening, the reading, is really important in your preparation. Otherwise, you know, if you're just doing them randomly, you know, it's not always an easy thing to do. So copy paste the links, guys, if you'd like to look at some of the things in our blog. Well, that's it for today. It's been wonderful having you with me today. Thanks everybody on YouTube that stayed with us. Don't forget, there's lots of free classes on E2 language, so very, very simple. Just to join, and then there are free classes every day of the week that you can join at no cost. Okay, so it's well worth, let's say, getting off YouTube, going on to E2 language, becoming part of our community. We love that. Okay, so everybody, hopefully the weekend's going to be beautiful. Thank you, Rizwana. I enjoyed having you with me today. Everything and all your input, all the hard work you did. So, for those who have the, you know, a paid package, this will be available in I think tomorrow on the recorded tutorial. So you can look back, you can think about it, you can write your version and then check it with the sample. You can do that with any of the recorded live classes. I think it's a great way to practice. So, sorry about a bit of a mess at the end there, but anyway, it does happen sometimes. Now, I'm going to be available another live class Tuesday at the same time as we started this. It's reading, part B and C. So join me on Tuesday, my morning, perhaps your morning, or perhaps another time of the day, but I will be there Tuesday and then Wednesday morning. That's writing for doctors, and my speaking class on Wednesday afternoon. So have a great weekend, everybody. Relax. For those who are taking the exam, fingers crossed, keep calm, think about what we've always taught you, and then you'll be successful. Okay. Hope it's going to be a good one for you. Bye-bye, everybody.